footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our 2014 NFL Draft Prospect Rankings video. We're taking a look at the offensive tackle position. We're going to take a look at my top 10, some small school prospects, as well as some sleepers that you want to keep an eye on.
Greg Robinson out of Auburn is my #1 rated tackle prospect in this draft. Here's a guy that's powerful at the point of attack, good hand placement, and doesn't overset in the pass game. Now, what he has to work on, and he had limited action and pass protection at Auburn, but he lunges at times in the running game, causing him to lose leverage, and he takes false steps. But if he can improve those minor nuances of his game, I think he'll be fine at the next level. Like I've said before, his game actually is parallel to what Walter Jones was like at Florida State, a guy that only played 1 year of college football before going number 6 overall to the Seattle Seahawks. I think Robinson can have that same type of trajectory in his career, because right now what you see on the field, he's very talented. I'm still a big fan of James Hurst out of North Carolina. He's coming off a broken leg injury suffered in a bowl game, but preseason he was my #1 rated senior offensive tackle, and right now he's still ranked, despite the injury, at #2. He's rarely out of position. He redirects very well in both in the running game as well as in the passing game, and he has a very strong initial punch. Like I mentioned before, he's coming off a broken leg, so he's going to have to check out medically, and he dips his head at times, causing him to lose defenders in the wash. But overall, this is a fine tackle prospect that reminds me a lot of the Brickishaw Ferguson that plays for the New York Jets. Jake Matthews out of Texas A&M has been a stud since he stepped foot on campus, was a highly touted high school recruit, and panned out perfectly throughout the course of his Aggie career. He trusts his strength. He's very strong at the point of attack. He won't lunge and plays with great technique throughout the ball game, and has improved his leverage. Now, what he has to work on, he has to be able to keep his hands inside versus speed rushers. Otherwise, you're going to see a lot of holding penalties at the next level, and he's not as quick as you would like a tackle to be, especially playing on the left side. He's more of a right tackle as far as footwork is concerned. But when you look at the overall package and what he brings to the table, a guy that can play both left and right tackle makes him an intriguing option and definitely worthy of a first-round grade. Next up is Taylor Lewan out of Michigan at 6'7", 315 pounds. Reminds me a lot of Jordan Gross that plays for the Carolina Panthers. He's quick off the ball. He wins with that initial punch, and he plays with passion on both ends of offense. That's in the running game as well as in the pass game. You like that about your offensive tackles that play with aggressiveness. Now, at times, he tends to struggle to reset and redirect, and guys will slip off his blocks and make the play. And in my opinion, that's the one area of improvement he's going to have to make at the next level. And rounding out my top 5 is Morgan Moses out of Virginia at 6'6", 325 pounds. Did a great job all week long down in Mobile at the Senior Bowl. A guy that has great hand placement. He's technically sound, and his kick slide is almost textbook. You like the way he sets up in pass pro. Now, he struggles to bend with consistency, and that could cause him to get pushed back into the quarterback or not have enough power with his initial punch in the running game. Those are some elements of his game that he's going to have to improve, but his overall skill set reminds me a lot of Brendan Albert that plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. Jack Mewhort out of Ohio State at 6'6", 306 pounds is very good in the running game, excellent hand placement, and he resets very well in pass protection. Now, he loses leverage when he plays high at times, and he tends to open up a little bit too quickly in pass protection. That could leave him susceptible to double moves and get beat a lot of times off the edge. But when you look at his overall skill set, a guy that brings a lot of Nate Solder-like ability to the table, I think he's going to surprise some. I've given him a second-round grade, but here's a guy that could end up as a starter in his rookie year. Another fine tackle prospect is Joel Bitonio out of Nevada. He has good explosion off the football. He excels in the running game, really is active in firing off into those defenders at the snap of the ball. He has good footwork, a guy that can play left or right tackle because of his feet, and you can also get creative in the running game and move your tackles. Joel Bitonio will be that guy because he has that type of athleticism. Now, his hands tend to get outside, and he catches and pass pro. That's a big no-no in trying to protect the quarterback, and that's something that's going to have to improve. But if you're looking for a comparison, look no further than Orlando Franklin that plays for the Denver Broncos. Another highly touted recruit coming into a big-time program was Cyrus Kouandjio out of Alabama at 6'5", 310 pounds. He has outstanding athleticism. He has excellent strength. He also is very good in the running game. I like the way he fires off the football. Now, his technique tends to get sloppy at times, and he struggles with his setup and leverage and pass protection, so it kind of makes him one-dimensional. You wonder if he's better suited to play right tackle as opposed to left tackle, but if he can get it together and put it all together as a pro, the sky's the limit, because again, he has the frame, he has the athleticism, and he has the strength that you want protecting your quarterback. One of two outstanding bookends for the Tennessee Volunteers was Jawan James at 6'6", 315 pounds. Reminds me a lot of Jordan Mills that plays for the Chicago Bears. He gets his hands in the right place in pass protection. He has a good, solid all-around skill set. Now, his change of direction skills to a degree are adequate, and that causes reaching, and he doesn't bring his hands consistently in a running game, which could cause him to lose sight of the defenders. But overall, I like what he brings to the table, and I think he'll do a fine as a pass-protecting right tackle at the next level. And the other half of that outstanding Volunteer duo is Antonio Richardson at 6'6", 325 pounds. He's a junior in early entry. He's very strong at the point of attack, and he competes very well. I love the way he competes, not only in the running game, but also in pass protection. And he has good hands in the running game. Now, he doesn't bring his feet once he's engaged, and that could cause him, again, to lose sight of defenders. Guys can slip off his blocks, and he also catches at times in pass protection. Those are some things that he's going to have to clean up at the next level. And I'm a big fan of Cornelius Lucas out of Kansas State at 6'8", 330 pounds. Reminds me a lot of the Arizona Cardinals' Bobby Massey and what he brings to the table. He has very good athleticism and uses his length well to redirect and pass pro. Once he gets his hands on you, he does a great job of controlling, and he's always winning the hand battle, getting his hands on the defender first, and that's how you play excellent in the trenches. Now, he doesn't drive as well in the running game. You need him to finish those blocks a little bit better if he wants to be successful consistently at the next level. Centrell Henderson out of Miami was a highly touted high school recruit at 6'7", 331 pounds. Never really panned out like you expected him to be once he came into college. He mirrors very well. He has quick feet and great size. We talked about that earlier at 6'7", 331. Now, he drops his head at times and struggles to maintain leverage, and it causes him to lunge in pass protection, which is why he tends to give up sacks. But this is a guy, if you can teach him proper technique, he has the physical tools to be successful and play a long time at the next level. Reminds me a lot of Derek Newton that plays for the Houston Texans. I'm a big fan of Donald Hawkins out of Texas. Reminds me a lot of Garrett Gilkey, who plays for the Cleveland Browns, can play guard or tackle. And I think Hawkins is a guy that can transition to a guard at the next level if they need him to be so. He's played left tackle at Texas, but I think he can also play on the right side. He's very sound with his technique. He has good athleticism, and he's versatile, like I mentioned before, but he struggles to anchor and redirect, which is why I believe he's probably better suited inside as a guard as opposed to being on the outside of an island at left tackle. Charles Leno out of Boise State had a very productive career for the Broncos at 6'4", 302 pounds. He plays with good leverage and does well on the move. He's another one of these offensive tackles that you can utilize in the running game by moving him around the formation and getting creative in how you want to block things up. Now, in pass protection, his base gets a little bit too wide and he can't anchor down, which causes him to get pushed back into the quarterback. That's something that's going to have to improve. He's going to have to get stronger at the next level if he wants to stay on the outside. Billy Turner out of North Dakota State is a fine prospect coming out of the FCS ranks at 6'5", 311 pounds. Reminds me a lot of Will Beatty that plays for the New York Giants. He's aggressive on both ends of offense in the pass pro department as well as in the running game, and his feet never stop moving. Now, he tends to stand straight up at the snap, and that same over-aggressiveness that I like leads him to lose balance at times, and guys are able to slip his blocks. But if he can hone in that aggressiveness and play with better technique, the sky is the limit for the 6'5", 311-pound prospect out of NDSU. Rarely do you see a guy at 6'10" be able to play exceptionally well on the outside like you see Matt Hall out of Belhaven. He wins with length automatically and plays with a good base, and he moves quite well for a guy that's 330 pounds. Now, his change of direction skills is adequate, and he loses balance at times when trying to bend, which is natural for a guy that's 6'10". But his skill set reminds me a lot of Zach Strief, and I think he has a role at the next level as a swing tackle, especially in the running game. LaRon Duvernay-Tardif out of McGill at 6'5", 315 pounds is one of the top tackle prospects in the CFL draft. He actually played in the East-West Shrine game and got better each and every day of practice. He struggled the first day, got better throughout the course of the week. He's an excellent drive blocker, and he's able to reset and redirect very well. Now, he has to get his hands in the right place. Initially, his punch has to get a little bit stronger, but this is a fine prospect that you may see on the later rounds of the draft boards of NFL teams, but he should go early in the CFL draft this year. Now, here are my final offensive tackle rankings for the 2014 draft, and they are color-coded by round grade. And as you can see, there are 5 first-round graded prospects, in my opinion, in this draft, led by Greg Robertson, whose potential is that of Walter Jones. But right now, I do see a lot of Cordy Glenn in this game. But when you look in the mid part of the draft, the 3rd and 4th round, you see guys like Antonio Richardson, Cornelius Lucas, Donald Hawkins. Even in the 7th round, you still get some quality guys like Fufa Nodi, who had an outstanding career for Michigan State, Jeremiah Searles out of Nebraska, who did a great job down at the East-West Shrine Game, Michael Schofield out of Michigan, and also Laurent Duvernay-Tardif out of the Canadian Football College ranks, the CIS out of McGill. A lot of great talent on this board. So if you need offensive tackle help, this is another outstanding class to get not only starters, but also quality depth on your football team.